Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 501. I had the black pieces. My opponent played knight f3, a very flexible move, signaling a number of possible openings. I played knight f6, which is just kind of a wait and see what he's doing. And he goes c4. And so now I know we're in an English opening. And I go for a setup I've been playing a lot lately with c5. And after knight c3, I played d5. So the point of this early d5 is to guarantee that I get one open line at least, a half open line, so I don't have a completely closed position. I'm just a little more comfortable in those positions, and also it prevents white from going into a Botvinnik setup, which there's a guy at the chess club who likes to play that, so that's how I first started playing this d5 move. Now white takes here. That's the most accurate response, and I take back. And then the way to refute this, if you ever have to play against this as white, is to play something like d4 or e4. Those are the most active ways for white to continue. I don't see those so much in practice because English players usually prefer to go with the fianchetto setup with g3, and then I'm fine. Against these other moves, it is the chess engine, it first gives white quite an edge, but after you let it think for a while, the advantage drops. So I think it's just kind of a typical opening advantage for white. So first of all, I don't see those moves too often, and secondly, if they do occur, I guess I'm not afraid of them. So anyway, g3 was played. I go g6, and we get the typical English setup with symmetrical fianchettos here on both sides castle. And then he goes queen b3. That's a bit of an unusual move. I think d4 here, or the exchange to resolve the situation in the center, are pretty logical ways to continue. Queen b3, though, it's interesting. Put some pressure on the b pawn. And I have to make a choice here what to do with this knight. There's basically, you can either take here or you can defend it with e6. And that's funny, knight to c7 is... retreating to c7. I did not think of that as an option. Okay, well, I'll put that on my list of moves to think about, knight to c7. If you see, knight takes c3 was on the list earlier. It's a playable move, but the engine prefers in this case e6, just defending the knight. It's hard to say which one is better, but in this case, if he ever takes the knight, it'll open up this diagonal for the bishop. And this knight is a good piece. So for the moment it appears like this. In this particular situation it appears like that's a good choice to play e6. He takes, and now actually that helped me. Now I have a bit more influence on the center with these two pawns. Let's see, we're out of the book. He goes d3, and I go knight c6. So doing fine once again out of the opening. He goes queen c2, taking pressure off the b pawn but hitting the c pawn. This kind of helps me a little bit too, because I want to play this move b6 anyway to allow the bishop to come to b7. He goes a3, and I go bishop b7. So I've gotten out of the opening with a slight edge here. But, we keep playing, and he manages to equalize from this position. Let's see, I went rook e8, he goes rook e1, probably due to some inaccurate moves by me. Yeah, this one here. I play knight d4 right away. That's a little... that's an active move, right? It's hitting the queen and the knight, but it's just kind of forcing and doesn't lead anywhere. So probably it would be better to continue just organizing my pieces. Queen d7, rook c8, h6 even. Interesting ideas. This kind of slow maneuvering is not my forte. So anyway, I played the knight here, and this just leads to some trades. It doesn't really lead anywhere for me. That's why it's not a great choice, and just basically an even position. And he can even get rid of my good bishop here. I decided to defend it rather than trade on c3, but I think this amounts to about the same thing. He plays e3 to kick my queen. I wasn't sure about this move. I thought it leaves weakness over here on the queen side. But it seems like I can't exploit that immediately. I drop my queen back. He plays rook a to d1 to support the d-pawn. I go rook a c8, putting the rook opposite the queen. b3, so he's advancing on the queen side. I drop my bishop back. I want it protected over here in case this d-pawn needs to move forward. He goes a4, and I push ahead with d4. Once again, in this case, I guess it's okay. Yeah, d4 is one of the engine choices. I was going to say, this is once again kind of a forcing move, but it does get rid of one of his white's stronger pieces. So white decides to hold on to the bishop with e4, but now that kind of blocks in the bishop for the moment. So here, let's see, bishop to c6 is interesting. Queen to d6, h5. Anyway, I played queen to g5, looking to do some maneuvering over here on the king side. And he goes f4, kicking my queen. So that queen maneuver didn't really lead anywhere. I dropped the queen back, and now he plays rook f1. He's got a real plan here now, just pushing forward on the king side. And if we look at the structure for a moment, this is kind of an interesting and instructive moment. The features of the position are that white has a majority on the king side, and he can use that for a king side attack. And in compensation, I have some weaknesses on the queen side of white's that I can attack. So he's strong over here and weak over here. And so it's kind of a contest between those two themes. Is his attack going to be stronger, or am I going to be able to exploit these weaknesses? And for now, the position is roughly in balance and stays that way for a long time. Let's see, I played f6 to kind of hold up the rush of his kingside pawns. He goes f5. And now maybe g5, keeping things closed, would be a good choice for me. Instead, I played rook to e5, trying to activate a piece, and that allows him to trade off one of my defending pawns. So I'm down to 2 pawns over here around the king, and he's got a clear target in the f-pawn. So this transaction has improved white's chances. White's doing pretty good here. Rook f2, rook c7, but I have time to organize a defense, so it's not like it's losing. It's just that bit of an edge for white here with the pressure on the king side. And queen d2, and king to g7, defending the entry squares. So still holding here. He brings the rook up to f4. I go queen to f8. He goes h4 now, pushing on with the king side attack. And I go bishop c6, trying to get this bishop into the game. Goes queen to d1, maybe hoping to bring the queen into the to the g file. So I block that with my bishop, and getting h2. So a lot of maneuvering here, and I decide at this point to push on with f5. The engine thinks g5 maybe is a playable move. It also thinks f5 is playable. It's just further down on the list of moves. It's always a questionable decision to move these pawns in front of your king, especially when you're under attack, because you are creating weaknesses. But there are times also when you can provoke some exchanges and resolve the situation. And that's kind of what happens here after a few moves. I play the pawn to f5. He plays his bishop here. And I drop my rook back. Let's see, I would still be doing okay here with bishop to e6. Keeping this bishop on the good diagonal and also taking a look at the queen side. Rook e to e7. Yeah, maybe gives white a little something here. So now he starts taking stuff. Okay, not so much. After the engine has time to think about it. I was going to say, I thought it turned out to be about even in any case. Bishop takes. So we get a bunch of exchanges. And this is kind of what I was hoping for, because this relieves the pressure on my king side. And we're down to just a queen and a rook each. And I have an exposed king, and he still has these queenside weaknesses. So that theme that I mentioned early on has continued basically into the endgame. So he goes rook f2, planning maybe to double on the f-file. I went rook to e3, taking a look at not only this pawn, but also the g-pawn, hoping to coordinate with the queen and get some counterplay going. He goes queen h5, though, immediately attacking my f-pawn. I go queen d6, counterattacking his g-pawn. And now he goes queen g5 check. So up until this point, it's been even. But there's only one move here that keeps me in the game, which is queen g6. So let's take a look at this move, the way that I could have played on. So queen g6, he can grab a pawn, but I can take, and then after he takes back, he's got no way to defend this pawn. So we'll get this interesting situation where I've got passed pawns over here, and he's got passed pawns over on the king side. And my passed pawn in the center is actually closer to closer to the goal line than his passed pawn, and my king is in a position to stop it. So it'd be interesting, but he has connected passed pawns, which are a strength. So we have a lot of offsetting strengths and weaknesses. Chess Engine rates this position as dead even, 0-0-0, which is kind of funny because probably one side will win this race and win, but I can't say for sure who would win at this point. Anyway, let's go back to the game. In this position, instead of queen g6, I played king h8, and now really I'm just losing. So he grabs this pawn, and the problem is, my king is completely cut off from all of my own pieces. And he's got ways of continuing the attack, and my pieces are away from home here. I play rook e2 check, maybe still trying to get counterplay against his king, and then queen e6, trying to tie down the rook at least. But, well, he can unpin the rook with queen to g4. He can also push pawns, or he can start checking with queen to h5 check. And all of these lead to a tremendous advantage for white. So white has a winning attack here, and basically because my king is cut off from the defenders by this powerful array of queen and rook here. But instead he goes for simplification. He may have been low on time at this point, and sometimes you just want to simplify. But this simplifies into a drawn game. So let's see, I went rook e3, counterattacking his pawns. He went rook f7, attacking my pawns. So we stay in drawish territory for a while here. And then right here, my d-pawn is starting to get dangerous, and he needs to bring his king over to try and slow it down. Rook to d7 maybe is an idea as well. Both of those would be drawing ideas, but instead he played rook to a6. And that just loses because now he has no way to stop this pawn from queening. And he played rook takes b6. He must have been low on time because I can just take his rook off, and then he resigned at this point. So a sudden turnaround there. But an interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.